Good night, good night. Um, Welcome. It's the last day of the first quarter of the month of the year already. And today I'm going to be interviewing Reeka-Lyn Selman of Selman's Design Group. Let me just add her. And while I wait for her, I invite some people to call.
Hi,
Hi, Erika. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, good.
I love you. Look very nice tonight.
I did it just for you. Just for
I'm
you.
repping the Bajan colors. You're repping in the earrings and thing. All
Of
right.
course, of course, of course. And I'm also wrapping my t-shirt line.
Oh,
So
nice.
it says she's speaking. You can't really see.
She's oh nice. So you have those selling here?
No, there is it's an online store.
It's an online store. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Welcome, Rika.
Thank you. How are you?
I am well. I am well.
I like your
Where are
hair
you
tonight.
located?
This is different.
Thank
Huh?
you. A good friend of mine did it for me today.
You're cute.
Thank you. Thank you. Where are you based now?
I am currently in Houston, Texas.
Oh, nice. How's it over there?
It's not bad, I'm home all the time.
Fair enough.
I
Fair
leave the
enough.
house to go to the supermarket, and that's about it. And maybe not even that because you'd have delivery
Oh,
that comes to your
okay.
door. So yeah, I'm here. Oh, and I also leave to take my son to school and come back home.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
That's
but
good
it's
then.
good. I don't know what it is out there because I don't go anywhere. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I recently went to a brunch on Sunday with my friend, but that was like
Mm-hmm.
very rare. I don't really do things. So
Fair enough.
yeah.
Understood. Thank you, Sharianne. Okay,
Yes,
so
she does. I agree, Sherry.
thank I okay, so let's get started. Welcome everyone. I am Chamara Hollingsworth of Vision to Reality International, and this is Make It Happen with Chamara interview series. Today, I have with me Rika Salmon of the Salmon's Design Group, and I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce. I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about you, um,
Mhm.
and your business, of course.
Okay, well, my name is Reeka-Lyn Selman. Like she said, everybody calls me Rika, so Rika is fine. Or if you want prefer Reeka-Lyn, it's also fine. It's all my name. I am a brand strategist and a design consultant. Like she said, the name of my company is Selman's Design Group, and basically, I help companies attract more customers to their business and increase their visibility. I am a graphic designer first, so it is a lot to do with like branding yourself online, in the online space. I recently started a course to help walk through people the process of branding their business online. And branding is actually not just only design, it is a lot um, that that goes into like forming a brand and forming an identity and making sure that your brand is connecting with your audience. So basically, what we want to do is make sure that what I like to help my clients do actually is make sure that whatever content they put out, how they sound, how they look, everything is speaks directly to their ideal target audience to make sure that the target audience is receiving what they want and like stripped down because sometimes we tend to like put a lot of our jargon and stuff, so stripped down in a way so that our audience can connect with it.
Okay. All right. So before we get started with the questions,
Hmm.
I I'm going to play a little game. It's actually very short.
Okay, I'm
Imagine
nervous.
that you have just won $5 million. What are
Mhm.
the first three things you're going to do with that money?
Ooh, okay. Well, I would put a lot into other businesses because I have other things that I do business wise with business partners and stuff. So I would probably invest into those things to help to scale them. I would buy my parents a house, and like who wouldn't, right? And what else would I do? Man, I would honestly do a lot of investing, I think. And a lot of, I have this dream to do, like, to create a homeless a shelter kind of, but like in a place where people can like where they can come and take a bath, like like how there's people sometimes who come and like feed them, but I want to provide like a space so that they can like have some place to sleep and take a bath and just like feel like a person for a little bit, and help like kind of rehabilitate them into like the world. So I probably would invest in that.
Isn't that interesting? Actually, years ago, there was this building that I used to pass down the South Coast very often. And every time I saw that building, I actually envisioned a space where women who were having challenges in life would come and spend I wouldn't say necessarily 6 months cycle, but they would come, they would get necessary training to get them ready for the world of either entrepreneurship or work, and then once they got on their feet, then they would be able to transition out of the home. So it's actually quite similar.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
great minds. Great minds.
True. So earlier you mentioned a few things. One of the first things I saw you or heard you mention was the fact that branding is not only about the graphics or the design.
Yeah.
What are some of the misconceptions you find people have about branding or around branding, and what would you say to them to kind of get their minds right as to what branding is? That's the first question.
So similar to what I said earlier, which was understanding that branding is not just your visuals and stuff. There's a lot of things that go into it. The other thing I would probably add to that though is that it's not anything to skirt through life on, like, or to try to fumble your way through. There's a lot of things that I know that when I see there's a lot of brands that I see, online or whatever, and I'm just like I know, like, we think that, if we have good graphics and if we have these things, it helps. And yes, it does for sure. Like, I firmly believe that. But at the same time, there's a lot more, like, foundational things that I feel like we kind of leave over or skirt over or kind of let fall by the wayside when there's a lot of, that just a lot of foundational things, I would say. And then there's so many things that you can be doing to propel yourself even further into creating a brand that really connects with your audience. Because sometimes there's times where people feel like they're posting a lot, but then they're not really getting like a lot of clients, or they're not getting, you posting for months and you're just not getting the kind of feedback that you want. Most likely you probably need a brand strategist to help you figure out, based on your business model and based on what you're doing, how can we attract the ideal audience that you want. And also, the other misconception I would probably say people have is that everybody is their target audience. Everybody is not anyone's target audience. Maybe most people, but never everybody. So that is definitely a very big misconception I have, because every time I go through that aspect, get to that aspect of the whole like brand building part, that is something I get all the time, like, really? I thought it was everybody, or really, but my business, and they think their business is special because XYZ. I'm like, no. And then I have to explain to them, why is it that your business actually is not appealing to everybody? So I would say that is another misconception.
Okay. So you kind of touched on what my second question would have been as related to the target audience, because I do know sometimes we get challenges with who our target audience is, and everybody wants to be able to appeal to everybody, but you can't please everybody all the time. You have to be able to focus. Now, one of the other things I wanted to ask as it related to that is that in terms of branding, would you say, for persons who don't necessarily understand, would you say branding and marketing are the same thing, or do you feel that people mix them up a lot?
People definitely mix them up a lot because, yeah, people definitely mix them up a lot. And I think I get why though, because there is there is a bit of overlap. So for example, a marketer would also ask you who your target audience is. And a marketer would also ask you some of the similar things that I would ask as well. So, but for me, I do it because I have to know. I started doing it rather because I have to know how to design for this business, and that is actually where that even started because I was designing for people, and I felt like, what am I really designing for? Like, I felt like when I started to put systems in place for my business and ask certain questions is when at the end of it, I would get less feedback and, more happy clients, really and truly. So over time, because I've been doing this for 10 years now, so like over time, it just evolved into what I have right now, basically.
Okay. Brain went a couple of different places, right? So before I go any further, I would like to invite everyone, firstly, to stick around to the end because we're going to do a giveaway. Some lucky person is going to get a 15-minute strategy session with Reeka-Lyn, right? And I'm sure y'all would like to be able to partake in that. Secondly, we have a few comments. So Charian Dixon is saying that a care hub, basically what we were talking about before, and she's saying what that is really is like a care hub. And She's Merch is saying that's a great idea. I think I saw another comment. Okay. And then in terms of target marketing, Ben Twist Bliss is talking about no, it's not everybody. So she's agreeing with in terms of the target market.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Just to kind of zone in on what you said earlier about branding versus marketing, what really is the difference between the two?
Okay. So I would say that marketing or marketers focus a lot on, like, I think that for me, the strength of where marketers are is like their strength in numbers, like, and in like, what should I say? So sales, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're marketing, your end goal is sales. Now, to be fair, most things, the end goal is sales, right? But marketers, I think that they have a lot of a more streamlined process when it comes to the end of it, and they're like big on like this is your monetary, this is what you need. Like that is what I've learned a lot when it comes to marketing. With branding, you still have to focus on, there's still goals you make. Because for me, I still have my goals. I still have my financial goals. I'm pretty sure any business has their financial goals. But when I focus on a business, when I'm working with a business, I'm not focused really on their financial goals, if that makes sense. I'm more focused on, like, I'm focused. It's still important, right? It's still very important. But I'm also focused on like your also like your engagement and how much clients you get, and your return clients and stuff like that there. So they do have a weird overlap, like really. But I would probably, and then marketers too, I think, are more like, especially if you do like general marketing, you're going to be a lot more well versed in like traditional forms of marketing, guerrilla marketing, all these other aspects of marketing. I think the reason why for me this like brand strategy and this works well for me is because I have a marketing brain. So, but I'm not officially trained in being a marketer. I just have a marketing brain. So there's a lot of things that I would do that would be similar to a marketer as far as like making sure they reach their goals and making sure certain things happen. But overall, I can't say I will officially call myself a marketer. I'm not sure I could do that. Although people keep saying I could, but I don't. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, I don't know if that's my answer, because it is a weird overlap. And I was actually talking to my boyfriend about that, and I was like, there is a weird overlap where sometimes I am muddy. I just know that I'm not gonna be out here calling myself a marketer. I'm a brand strategist and a design consultant, because I also lead with design first. Like I'm more invested in making sure that your design is attracting your audience. I'm making sure that you are, you know, obviously I still watch the numbers, like as far as like your insights and making sure that your engagement is increasing. Those are still things you have to pay attention to. But I feel like with marketers, they're a lot, they pay attention to it better, I would say.
With what? Sorry, the last part.
No, I would say like marketers pay attention to it, pay attention to numbers a lot more
Mhm. Okay,
than me. than than a brand
understood.
strategist or than a
Okay,
brander. We
so
still
their
pay attention
targets
to
are
numbers
really
because
numbers.
we have to. So go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, you're saying that their targets are normally numbers based, actually linked more to sales directly than branding would be.
Right. Yes.
Sharianne Dixon is actually asking what the difference between marketing and PR
Woo.
are, and I actually could see how I actually could see how a lot of these different things overlap because sales and
Same.
marketing are not necessarily the same thing, but there's overlap. And PR and marketing are very similar, but there's not the same. Branding and marketing are not the same, but there are similarities.
Yeah.
Would I be correct?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Would I be correct though in under if I in thinking that when I hear branding, it's not just about the graphics, but it's about how you present yourself or your business to the world. Um,
Yes.
Whether it be the colors that you wear to work or in your office space, or I guess, using one of our top restaurants here, that when you walk in, you can see these pretty colors, and it's more like bubbly and
Yeah.
uplifting as opposed to some that kind of make you feel a little,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Yeah.
and then when I think of it also, I think about when you start to train persons to work in your business, you kind of train them in a specific way to match the
Yes.
brand as well.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. When I worked, I used to work in hospitality,
Mhm.
and we had to talk a specific way because that was the way of the brand. So, like, the brand
Mhm.
had certain words that we had to use. We couldn't say hi, we couldn't say hello, you know. So there were certain words that we had to use because it was off brand to just see somebody walking in the hotel as a front desk agent and say hello or whatever.
Okay.
So.
I actually never put it down to words as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I said all of that, and words never came to my mind
Yes,
as.
and that is what that is what I do. So like, how do you sound? How should your business sound? You know, like,
Mhm.
are you playful? Are you relatable? Are you, more corporate or professional? Like, what are you going for? So you
Mhm.
have to think about how you sound, basically, as well. So yeah, there was something you said
Okay.
I wanted to touch on as far as like
Mhm.
the overlapping. Um, it's
Mhm.
kind of like how I'm a graphic designer, but then you have illustrators, who are more like graphic artists, because there's a difference between a graphic designer and a graphic artist. A graphic artist is, yeah, I know. A graphic artist is more like an illustrator. Like they can draw, like those people you see like doing the anime or drawing like really from scratch, like from their brains. They just envision
Mhm.
stuff and draw. Right? As a graphic designer, I don't do that. I can do a logo. So there's an overlap as far as like I have to have an ability to do some form of sketching and drawing, but I am not going
Mhm.
to be able to be as detailed as an illustrator. And then an illustrator does not have the skill set that a graphic designer has, because a graphic designer, we design to communicate a message for our audience. Illustrators, um, unless you have also been trained to be a graphic designer, you're not going to do that. So there's times where illustrators do logos and it's very
Mhm.
complicated. It has a lot of elements, has shadows and all these things that should not be in logos, because they're a graphic artist. They are an illustrator. They're not a graphic designer. We design to communicate a message. So we take things that are complicated and convoluted, and we try to make it streamlined into a simple logo, simple icon. Um, yeah.
Would both of them be considered graphic artists though?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, so a graphic designer is
Uh-huh.
like the reason why it's an artist is because they are solving their own problems, but we are solving problems on behalf of a client.
Okay, so the illustrator is more graphic
Right.
artist and the
Yeah.
graphic designer is okay, more
Right.
business
But then
route.
you have some people who do both, and then they have
Mm-hmm.
an understanding of both things, and that is great. So kind of like with me, how I have an understanding of marketing and branding and thing, but I can't officially, I'm not going to be out here officially saying that, oh, I am this, you know, digital marketer person. However, what I do does involve that because of the overlap.
So then you work closely with marketing experts, pretty much.
Yeah, so for example, when I was working, I used to work at the Nation. So when I was there, our design department, so I was in the design department, but we worked very closely with marketing. So I was like, because once again, there's just so much overlap. Like our departments were very close. At one point it was actually one department because of how integrated everything is. But the reality is that a marketer can't design. A marketer can give you an idea of what they would like to see, and then the designer, because we are trained to communicate a message, then we design to communicate that message as simply as we possibly can. So what am I saying? Right, I said that to just show the difference. Like the marketers, like if you are a marketer, you have your strength, and then you graphic designer, you have your strength. But then sometimes you kind of sit somewhere in the middle, which is where I am, where you kind of have, but I would say my more strength is in design consulting, brand strategy, and graphic design. But once again, there's a little bit of marketing thrown in there because that's just always how my brain has worked. I don't know.
Fair enough. I think it's good to be able to have the understanding of other areas as well. It really helps to inform what you do.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
So just another reminder, anyone who's now joining the call, feel free to stick around till the end. We have a giveaway for our 15-minute strategy session with Reeka. And as per usual, we invite you to drop any comments or questions as we go through the interview so that we can all get our questions answered.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, you would have mentioned that you've been in the business for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So is that 10 years in your own business or 10 years altogether?
10 years just altogether professionally doing this, as far as like having clients and being paid by
Okay.
actual people that aren't your family. So yeah. I would
Okay.
say 10 years of that. In this particular, in my business, I have had my business for 7 years. Wow. 7 years? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's been about 7 years that I've had this business, and then I would say maybe 2 years of actually like doing it like hardcore.
Oh, full time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, no,
nice.
not full time, but oh yeah. 2 years of full time. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
I had to
Cool.
think about that. I was like, wait,
Cool.
what's happening? Yeah. 'Cause-
What was the brilliant, audacious, dynamic goal or dynamic dream that really inspired you to get started in this particular area?
oh, I've always been a graphic designer. I think I was a graphic designer before I knew it was a profession. So I used to do my parents, like I used to like do gifts for people. So like I was like what, 10, 11, where I was just like doing graphics like happy birthday like in Microsoft Word, and and just like putting pictures and the names and stuff and just laying everything out and giving them as laminating it, putting it on shirts and giving them as gifts. Like I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know it was a career. I just did it because it was something that came from me. And then when I was 12, that's when I was in California at the time, we were learning how to use PowerPoint. And I just picked up on the formatting area of PowerPoint really well. And then I did my parents, their thesis, like their final presentation on PowerPoint. So they gave me the information. I was like my first graphic designer job, basically. They give me the information and then I put it in the PowerPoint. And at that time, you know, it was like clip art and like animations and PowerPoint and stuff. It was lit, okay? It was lit. Yeah, because like all their classmates were so impressed, like, oh my goodness, how did you do this? And a 12-year-old did it. And then I went into, so I actually went into college, and I initially went into college to do social work. And then I had a class in the communications department. So the communications department is like where like, you know, photography and broadcasting, and all these things were happening. I had one class in there. It was public speaking, and I was like, this is where I belong. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be doing something creative. And yeah, from then on, I was just like heavily in this creative space, and just kind of doing what has already like just flown naturally out of me.
So it's always been a part of you. So based on what you're saying, you seem to be very well traveled. Well, how would you say that your ability to see different areas of the world has influenced your film, I suppose, as a graphic designer slash brand strategist?
Well, I'm not sure if it has. I'm not sure if it had anything. I know that. I mean, I guess, but I feel like there's a lot of. I don't know. This is why I say that, because I feel like there's a lot of graphic designers all over the world who has never left their hometown, and they're amazing at what they do. And so I'm not sure if me being a designer, or traveling has really done anything. As I feel like if anything, has allowed me to be a lot more open-minded to evolution and to the evolution of things. So for example, this is why I stopped calling myself a graphic designer, because officially, right, I'll always be a graphic designer, but this is why I officially stopped calling myself a graphic designer. Your thing is moving. I'm not sure if she's there. Is she there?
I'm still here, and you're
Okay.
stuck too.
I
can
I'm
still hear
stuck
you.
too?
Yeah, but I can still hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened. Anywho, but yeah, this is why I stopped calling myself officially a graphic designer, was because I felt like the type of services that I offered or was offering unofficially, I guess, to my clients were more than a graphic designer. It was a lot of, I started to give business advice, like, and I was good at it. And actually, they're actually getting results from this advice I'm giving them. And then they started just coming to me and be like, hey, I have this idea, whatever. Because the other thing for me is like project development. So I'm good at creating projects, and I'm good at evolving into things that are just not within a wheelhouse of what standard is. So for example, I'm a graphic designer, but I don't post my work on my page, like, because it's boring to me, not because there's anything wrong with it, but I just personally don't want to do it. I feel like the work that I put up speaks for myself, and it does, because I always get work just based on just what my social media page looks like. So for me, I think it allows me to be more willing to step outside of the box, I would say, probably, and being more willing to evolve into something more. So that, and the other reason why I call myself a design consultant is because of how, like, I would have consultations with my clients. Like, I have people who just wanted to sit with me for an hour and just go through stuff with their brand and help them figure out how should I lay this out? How should my grid look? And they were cool with that. And I was like, this is more than what, you would think a standard graphic designer would do. And then I developed this course because I was like, yo, like, I'm helping people with this, with my clients individually. Let me help more people. So then that's where the design and branding masterclass came out, where we take your business and we, take it from here, or even if it's here, because some people do already have a good starting point, but we just try to take it over the edge. Wherever you are, we take you over the edge. So I think that the traveling has just prepared my brain to be a lot more willing to be open-minded to change, and not to stay within the parameters of what you would specifically think somebody should do. So yeah.
Okay. In alignment with what you are saying, Sharianne is saying that traveling opens your mind to more and at a higher level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
actually
does.
believe that would be the case. It's different to being someone who's only been seeing a particular way of life their entire life. When you get exposed to different things, then it unlocks different areas.
Yeah. Although I do know a lot of people who have not traveled much, and they're still, their brains are immaculate, and still they're very like open-minded and very, creative and stuff like that. So yes, but I guess for some people it just helps. Like, maybe if I had stayed in one place, maybe I wouldn't be the way I am. but other people can and then just be super amazing. You know, I guess it just kind of depends on who
On
we
the
are
person, and
individually.
yeah,
Mhm.
agreed. Okay, so coming around to halftime, let's play another little game. I haven't done
Oh
that
dear.
in a little while.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
So this one is filling. Just want to be sure. Yes, fill in the blank.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you to choose three numbers
Okay.
between 1 and 10, and then I will ask you the questions or start the statements that align with the numbers that you would have picked.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So your first number?
Hmm?
Your first number, sorry?
Okay, so I tell you the number?
Yeah,
3.
3. Okay, so my most rewarding experience so far was
Hmm. So far? Like how far are we talking?
so far, like in
Like
life
recently?
altogether. Recently, as far back as you could think, the most rewarding experience you could think.
Most rewarding experience? You know, I would probably have to say the first time I helped some person like really, really do an overhaul of their brand.
Mhm.
I think that was not to be like that boring, but I really am obsessed with design. Um, like I really am. So it's like literally like free time stuff for me. So I'm a huge nerd. So I would say that that was probably that was actually one of the first times I realized like, whoa, like I could do this, like this could be a thing, you know, like really, because it was not that I just did their logo and a few stuff and then called it a day. Like I really sat with them and helped them to understand how they should like design their stuff and um just figure out how their grids should look and figure out what kind of content they should put. That was the first, I feel like that was rewarding for me because it was the aha moment of like, whoa, this is a thing. Like people really care about the information that resides in my brain for no reason. So I guess that would be it.
Okay. Okay, so what's your next number?
Let's go with, I like odd numbers, so I'm gonna go with 5.
Okay. So the best advice I ever received was,
Ooh. Oh my goodness. The best advice I've ever received. The best advice I've ever received was when my business coach told me that people will pay for whatever they want. And
Mhm.
let me tell you why that stood out to me, because sometimes you know, we kind of have any one of us, you know, I'm not special. Any one of us have these thoughts where we feel like you know, am I charging too much? Am I, you know, am I good enough? Can I do the thing that I think I can do? Um, I think the reason why that resonated with me in the way it did was because at that time I was having a lot of doubts when it came to my business and if I would be able to depend on it. Um, and I think having that mindset and incorporating that mindset into my life, as far as like, I have no apologies for what my price points are. Zero. And the
Okay.
reason why I don't, I'm not interested in lowering it to fit COVID. I'm not interested in lowering it to fit somebody's idea of what they think my price should be. And the reason why is because we're still going to the supermarket and we're still paying full price for the same things and we're still doing all the things. You know why? Because we value that. And I feel like if you have a business, you should be willing to and wanting to invest in the thing that gets it where it needs to be so that you can do that for the rest of your life comfortably. And I feel like if it is that I have something that allows people to be comfortable and attract more customers and this kind of thing, why should I settle? Because we're still spending money, right? I make no apologies for it. So I think that, and then also just dealing with him and just seeing the amount of people who have paid way more for so many other programs that don't, like, so many things. I'm not even about to call out nothing, but just so many other things. So then I'm supposed to be out here just lowering my price so that you could feel like I'm a good person? No, this is a business. So that, I think, was probably the best advice I've ever gotten, because I don't feel bad. Right? Like, I don't feel like I need to do anything. I don't feel like I need to change anything. Because I know and I'm confident, I am 100% confident, 120% confident in the results that people get when they work with me. And I don't feel like I should have to apologize for that in my price point. So that. Okay. The other thing I want to say that I think, for some reason this is coming to me to say, but the other thing I want to say that, like, as far as good advice I've gotten, is the one of the best ways that you can show people that you can help them is by helping them. Because the reason why that's important to me is because there's a lot of things, or a lot of misconceptions where we have, we feel like we shouldn't give all this information because then people won't purchase from us, or people won't work with us because you've given it all or whatever. And I think that that is not real. And I think that in order for people to understand that you are of value and that you are worth their time and their money, because is by helping them and helping them to understand and see you as the expert that you already are. So I think those are the two things that I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what's your next number?
7.
I actually saw that coming. One of my keys to success is.
Ooh, these are good ones. My goodness. Oh, all right. Let me let this marinate and sit within my spirit. One of the keys, one of my keys to success. Be okay with not being perfect. And I this is why, like, listen, I was literally gonna go on. I actually have set to do a video, right? To record a video to put up on my page, and it was about that. It was about the fact that we need to be okay with showing up and being flawed. And we need to be okay with showing up and making mistakes. And we need to be okay with showing up and people not liking you, because that's okay. We all mess up. We all make mistakes in life. We all say blunders and spit, fall over our own words and stutter and stuff like that. And I feel like the people like you who are able to show up and be you and be who you are, I feel like that is amazing to me. And I feel like there should be more of us who are willing to step out of our comfort zone, because this is not comfortable, y'all. Like, this isn't fun. Okay, we don't do this because it's like, oh yeah, I'm going out live. Like, no, we have a mission to accomplish. We have things we want to do, and we know that this is the means to an end, and that is why we do it. However, we're also not afraid to show up and make mistakes and not be perfect. And sometimes people may not like us, and sometimes people may not like our life. Maybe, her glasses are too brown, or her earrings are too blue. I don't like watching her. Feel free. You know what I mean? We have to be okay with the fact that people will have something to say. And I feel like that is one of my things to success, being okay with the fact that I am not perfect.
I think I actually needed to hear that. I've been struggling with that quite a bit, especially as it relates to coming online and being on camera and, and so on. So I know that there are a lot of people that needed to hear that. Be okay with not being perfect.
I had a 2-week boot camp. I think 2 weeks ago now, and it was free. It was a design and branding boot camp, and I showed up there, I did my lives in our little area where I had it, and I did the lives and I did stuff and I messed up and I forgot stuff in the workbook I gave them and so what? Like I showed up and I did the thing I wanted to do and I did it to the best of my ability and I gave it my all, and so what if I had a typo in my workbook? So what if my presentations were always all clear cut and clean cut and all formulated all pretty? So what? I showed up. Not that we shouldn't be showing up, and like anyway we need to show up and show up, you know what I mean, like always give it your all, but at the same time, like, so what? So yeah, and yes, be okay with not being perfect. Yeah, I like that, Finn.
Kaffir's Gourmet Cheeses is saying boom and thank you. Because that one hit me. That was really profound.
Thank you.
What you're saying though too is about your boot camp and the mistakes that you would have made and so on. At the end of the day, once you do that, the main thing is that you learn from the experience and you can only improve as you go. And that's something that we easily forget,
Exactly.
So you mentioned your business coach earlier. So for persons who are in business and they feel like they're struggling and so on, what is the importance of having a business coach?
I feel like they allow you to kind of shift your brain out of yourself. They help you to think about your business outside of yourself, as far as like helping me to simplify my message, the way I sing. So like even the whole like, attract more customers to my business and increase my visibility, that didn't come from me. Right? Like I can do it for other people, but like when it's yourself, it is really hard to do that. So I think that doing that helped me to investing in it, because it was not cheap, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. And that is why I am a very huge advocate for us as entrepreneurs, making sure that we are not trying to be, I mean, there's a difference between just not having the money and just not wanting to spend the money. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you know that this is a product, a service, wherever it is that you see this, this thing that that you feel is going to help you improve and help you get to the other side, like, just do it. Like, what's the problem? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you can just sit here for the next 6 months in the same place with the same information that you currently have in your brain and somehow expect amazing transformation, really? So I feel like what I would say to people is that if it is that you feel like you really taking your business seriously and you really want it to scale and you really want it to grow, be willing to spend money, be willing to invest in your business, be willing to shell those coins. And sometimes it is a huge sacrifice. Trust and believe. It is a huge sacrifice. But at the end of the day, it will change your life. It change your mindset, and it will allow you to be able to, just be better. Just be better at your business and grow and scale and depend on it the way you want to depend on it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Thank you for that. Another thing you mentioned that really caught my attention was when you started talking about what your price is and being unapologetic about it. And the thing that came out to me there was, at the end of the day, once you value yourself, it helps for other people. You're kind of setting the precedence for the way you want people to be able to treat you. And so once you value yourself, then others will come value you in that way as well. And I think that's very important. And then you also spoke about, I can't remember the exact point you made, but the thing that popped out is that sometimes we operate from a mindset of limitations, and that's what keeps us stuck.
I love the way you put that. Oh,
okay. We need to be able to get out of that mindset. So it's about working on getting out of that. All right, so we got a point in the house, I see. All the snapping. Yeah. Okay, so next, would you say you had to make any shifts in your perspective to take, to get into your business and to take it to the level that is at now?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot.
Okay, so could you name like two of them, two shifts that you would have had to make?
I think, well, similar to what I said before, I think was just really understanding that what you have is worth it. What you have is when you know that you whatever you do for your clients, whether you're a life coach, an accountant, a writer, if you know that you see measurable results in your
Mm-hmm.
clients, you should be charging a premium price for it. That is what I firmly believe within all of my heart. And I don't think that we should just be like trying to play at the bottom, because that's messy down there. Like, play at the top because there's less people. So for me, I think what changed, my perspective changed, understanding that I don't have to play here, I can play here. And it's actually like, for example, if let's say you have you decide you want to do a workshop, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, I don't know, this is a random example, so y'all don't come for me, but just for example, let's say you have a workshop and you are selling it at $35. And then, so like, and you get 3 people. How much is that? But let's say you have a workshop and you're selling it at $200 and you get 3 people. They're getting the same results. They're getting the same measurable results that you know that you consistently give to your customers. Why play here when you can play here? So I would say that mindset, as far as how to work numbers to make sure that it doesn't matter if you don't get 10 people, if you have a course selling for $10,000. You just need one.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. So that all those other people who say, oh, that's so expensive, all right, well, they don't buy it. But there's one person that will buy my $10,000 course, and we will go on with our day. And then
It actually ties.
go ahead.
No, I was saying it ties back in with the conversation. It was I can't remember who I was having this conversation with, but one of the points that was made, I remember hearing somebody making the point that at the end of the day, when you have a product or a service to put forward and you're promoting it, it takes the same effort to do a promotion for $1 as it does to do a promotion for $1,000. So, you know, work with the big one.
If your goal
it's the
is to have
same effort.
yeah, exactly. And if your goal is to have $1,000 at the end of a month, then you just need to sell one course for $1,000.
Okay.
Why are you out here worrying
So,
about oh, no, enough people won't come? You got to meet monetary goals, and then we go from there.
agreed. What would you say to the person who lacks the confidence in charging prices that they believe their products or services might be worth?
I think that I know what that feels like. Actually, I know what that feels like to feel that way. And the only thing, what got me out of that was when, once again, when my coach was like, because anyway, I'm not about to go into all that, but his thing is like, you don't do anything less than, like, it has to be in the thousands, or else what are you doing? Right? So that for me is the energy I live off of and what I strive for, right?
Okay.
And I think that surrounding myself with those mindsets is probably what has allowed me to feel a lot more confident when I speak about things. Because, like, I mean, even my designer masterclass, it's not that expensive. It's like $500, like, US. It's really not expensive. Like, let's be real about that. It's not. And not in the grand scheme of things. Not in a world where people are selling courses for $10,000, $7,000, and that kind of thing. So I feel like for me, and the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm only taking people through this process in this way now. And then after I get like testimonials, now I can be like, okay, then it's going to be much more on the higher end. But what I will say to answer your question, I rambled. But what I will say to answer the question would be, if you are working with people now and you're getting results, like measurable results, that's worth it. And there are people around you who will look at you and think you're insane for thinking that your product or rather your service, because I think with services I like services because you can literally like package what you want. So you can have a bulk thing, you can have a small thing, you could do a digital thing, a digital product. So there's so many different ways that you can package a service, which is why I like services. But I think that one is important to get from being around people who think, like, if you tell some person now that you have a course and you want to sell that for $3,000 and they look at you like you're insane, you don't need that kind of negativity in your life. If you are around people who, when you tell them that your package, that you're about to do a course and it's about to call and you're going to price it at $3,000, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You got the right people in your life. And if it is that you don't have those people in your life, it's going to be hard for you to get out of that, because you hearing this stuff. Oh, you can't do that. People, time's hard. This, that, blah, 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 blah. Once again, people pay for what they value. Okay. And I'm not just saying that. I'm really not just saying that. I'm just not trying to give you all my business, but I'm really not just saying that. People pay for what they care about, which is why it's important to know your target audience, because your target audience is way more willing to invest in you than anybody. Okay. Not to go back there, but it's just like, that's why it's so important to just know who care about your thing, because then when you go to sell the thing on the back end, it's not that difficult, because because when you go to sell the thing, it's not that hard. It's still hard, but it's not hard, because they already bought into your vibe, your thing. Yeah, I don't even know if I answered the question. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I think there was still value taken from that. Actually, I just realized that my thing was stuck, and now I'm seeing all of these messages. Let's peek through them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it says that Merch is saying that's so true. And she's also saying, be who you are. Ben Twist is saying, investing in your business is always worth it. Merch is saying, believe in yourself, invest in yourself, show up for yourself. Sharianne is saying, know your worth. Kafra is saying, I needed this, divas.
Yes.
Verbose. That is usually the one who really values their business and willing to invest in it. That's why those big businesses spend a lot on their businesses. This is true.
And let me say to that point, right? Let me say this. There was a study done with businesses who especially spend a lot of money in the design and marketing of their business, and businesses who don't, and the businesses who do actually get a lot more return on their profit for spending more attention on that. You know why? Because they were willing to invest in designing and branding, and those agencies that charge $1 million for a logo, they were willing to invest in that because they know the value, and they know that their ROI, return on investment, is going to be worth it at the long run. And it was true, because there's a lot of research that shows that, for example, like that's why a lot of companies spend so much money on packaging. Like when you go into the grocery store, like those people like that's not an accident, like that's not a fluke. That even if the design looks simple, so much went into that. So much went into the what they want the company to stand for, and what the company wants to look like, and how do we represent how this tastes in the visuals. Like there's so many things that goes into that. That's not a fluke. These people don't spend money on those things because they're bored. They do it because half the time the people who are making those decisions are people who are like financial people and accountants who at the end of the day just want a bottom line. They don't care how pretty stuff is. They just want the bottom line. And even those bottom line people see that there's a proper return on investment and go ahead and let people invest in design and creative marketing and all these different things. So why do we as small businesses feel like that's something we could just glaze over or pretend or try to fumble through or whatever because they look fine to me, you know what I mean? So that is that's just what I wanted to add to that statement.
Okay. Okay. Gotta process a lot there, girl. Just dropping some gems. Okay, so Ben Twistless, you're saying the T, you know, because
Oh,
really
I
dropping.
like Ben Twist Bliss. I
And
do not know who this person is. I love them. Love their comments.
uh, and Big L 36 is saying, so how important is it for initial investment?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Like,
Uh,
this is what I'll say. So what I think you're what I think you're saying. This is what I believe. I firmly believe that if it is that you can't necessarily afford, like actually not fake can't afford, actually cannot afford to have design and branding and stuff like that, then I feel like it's important to still just educate yourself on basics and get by on that until you are willing or able to do it. There are times where I feel like you are able to, and you just feel like, oh, it's not important enough. So then you don't fork up your change, right? But then there are times where you know you just actually just don't physically have it, like it's not within your actual power. And so when I speak about things like this, I'm not speaking about that. Because me myself, there are things I just physically cannot do, right? So I'm not
mhm.
saying like, you know, oh, like everybody's just being cheap. I really don't think that. I just think that we need to all work within our means. But when we do have the ability to, that is very important to make sure we're willing to, because that's where the real transformation is. Not the YouTube videos, not the free courses. The real transformation is investing with people or businesses or whatever it is that is going to get you the results at the end of the day.
Okay. So just to tie it all together, because earlier we were talking about how different things overlap, but
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be the understanding that almost every area of your business overlaps in some way. So for instance, like I focus on business systems and processes.
Okay.
Once you are looking at branding, all of your systems and processes ideally should line up with what your brand is really about. And those are things that we don't take into account. So for instance, if you know that your brand is supposed to be, let's say, um, fun-loving, light-hearted, then you can't have these systems that are completely bureaucratic, you know, and it takes so much to get through any part of your system. You have to find a system that actually ties back in with the fun-loving and light-hearted brand that you have. Um,
That's accurate. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So like Rika was talking about before, she was working in a hotel, and the brand, you had to say specific words and so on. Even the
Mm-hmm.
systems that they should have, ideally, if they were very big on their branding, their system should have matched back with what their brand was about.
Yeah,
So I guess you would be able to tell me if that was the case. So if you were
definitely.
looking at,
Mm-hmm.
if it was a hotel that was looking at us exuding or putting forward that they were a luxury hotel, there are things that they would do completely different to a motel, you know, who's is just getting people in bed and probably a little breakfast in the morning. They're going to speak differently. Their systems and processes are going to be completely different because they want
Mm-hmm.
to bring back people. And then their prices are also going to be completely different because it is in
Mm-hmm.
alignment, I should say, with the brand that they are looking to uphold. So these are the things that you have to consider. I'm saying this especially to Lindsay's question, Big L's question, um, because you might be talking about how important is it for initial investment, but your initial investment might really be the time that you put in to start to develop what you really want the brand for your business to be. you know, and how you want people to see your business. And those might be that might be the initial investment. And then when you get to a point where you're making the funds to be able to look at the physical branding in terms of design and start to hire persons in those areas, you at least are clear on where it is you want to go with your business. And it makes it easier for you to be able to collaborate with that person. So those are things to consider as well.
Yeah.
Let me just be sure. Okay. So then he's asking, is it then as you build capital, yes, you can do it piece by piece.
Yeah,
And
bootstrapping. Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Nothing
That's
wrong with
what
doing
most
it
of
piece
us
by
do,
piece.
truthfully.
Yeah.
We
Not
do what
many
we can,
people.
and then when we get the money, we reinvest it, and then we get the money, we reinvest it, and that's how it works.
Yeah. And as I always say, do what you can with what you have. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it doesn't make sense trying to go over the top and then you find yourself in complete struggles and shambles.
And then also
Because
it doesn't make sense. It's like being so stagnant because you don't think that you're able to do this amazing thing that you would really want, but then you're not doing nothing at all. So that's still not good. We still got like do what we can, like what you said, like do what we can with what we have.
Yeah. Okay. So I have probably about 2 more questions to ask you. But before we do that, let's do the giveaway.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. For those of you who missed it, someone will be lucky enough to walk away with a 15-minute strategy session with Reeka. I would like to hear what is the key takeaway. The first person to tell me what the key takeaway that they took from the discussion so far. I'm not even finished.
I don't even know if she knew what the question was when that came up. I think she was
Right.
just
All right. So
adding.
let's finish after this point. Right. The first person to tell me what was the key takeaway that they have had from the discussion so far will win the prize. So,
Well, you doing that? Okay.
nobody. Know your worth. All right. So
Yes.
we have a winner. Capra's Gourmet Cheeses.
Oh,
Has
cheese. I
won.
love cheese. This is fun.
And she does cheeses and that kind of thing too, girl. You understand? But
Oh
yes,
my
you are the
gosh.
winner of a 15-minute strategy session with Reeka. So
I'm so excited.
celebrate.
I'm so excited. She got another one for us.
Oh wait, so she's making sure that she secured the prize, right? Be okay with not.
Listen, just in case you missed it, I won.
Yeah, we got it. Right? All right, so imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. I really agree with that, that's a really profound statement. Yeah.
That is
And it's
real. And
easy to get
that goes to what I was saying earlier, as far as like you just show up and be who you are, because it's not serving us to try to show up to be perfect. Show up and be imperfect and be cool with that.
Yep. And a lot of us get stuck because of that same thing. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Okay, so last 2 questions. Support systems, how important are they for you?
Oh my gosh, they're everything. They're absolutely everything. What, like, back to what I said before, where like anytime I told my family members or anybody around me was like, yeah, I'm about to sell a course for $3,000. They'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, or like, oh okay, cool. Let me know what you need. Like that is the people I have around me. Like nobody second guesses my nobody will be like, oh, well, you sure you probably should start here to see if you could, like, no, like they're dead, like Yeah, and then like sometimes like even when I give them price points for things like for this master class, that's just $500. It's only $500 this time, right? And
Mhm.
they were very like, why is this so cheap? Like they were big mad. Like my boyfriend, my
Mhm.
cousin, like they were big mad. Like, what are you doing? No, you know. But I was like, y'all, there's a strategy. I have a strategy, right? It will literally
Mhm.
never be that person. Literally. And I keep saying that, right? Mark my words. We can come back to this
Nice.
life and mark my words. Not doing it
Nice,
again.
nice, nice.
But I have a
Okay.
strategy. So yeah.
Okay. So support systems are important.
Hmm.
What kind of changes would you say you had to make in your relationships over time to get to where you are today?
I didn't have to make any. I think once again it's just because I have like really dope people in my life. Like legit. Like my friends. Um I have really amazing people in my life. Honestly, they're very supportive. I don't ever feel like, there's some people who like go into the next year and be like, oh, I gotta leave people behind, or I see stuff that say, like coming into success, you gotta. Some people just don't get it, and I just don't relate to any of it. I like everybody that is around me is not as ambitious as I am, as and intense as I am, as far as like when I'm on a mission, tunnel vision, like that's it. And I've never felt like anyone was inconsiderate to that, or whatever. I actually have friends where like if I don't tell them that I'm doing something, like if I'm doing something new in my thing, or if I starting some other like business venture or whatever, like they'd be big mad I didn't tell them. I feel like that's probably the most thing. They'd be like, why did you tell us so that we can share it on our page? Like
Mhm.
that is the kind of energy I get. So I actually have not had to change any relationships because I really do have amazing friends. I mean, I have like 5 friends, but they're amazing. And that's all I need. Quality over quantity. And that's all I need. They're great.
Nice. Okay. So before we go, we have Ben Twist Bliss saying that you're ready. I guess you're ready for the strategy session.
Is
And
Rika
she's
ready?
merch celebrating.
Oh, she is merch. Let me say this real quick. She is merch.shop is my business as well. It's an online shop. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
an online shop where that's the shirt that I showed you. She's
Nice, nice.
speaking.
Uh-huh.
This was inspired from Kamala Harris because as women, we show up in certain areas and people do not. We have to be like, hey, I'm important. We kind of sometimes feel like invisible when you're in a room full of men. I know I've had it. In a corporate world where like you don't feel like what you say has as much weight, and so that was the inspiration for this particular one. But we have a lot of other ones. We have like she's melanated, she's a dope black queen, she's powerful. So it's just like a line to celebrate women
So,
being amazing.
excellent stuff.
Quick sidebar.
Okay. That's good. That's actually really good to know. And it makes sense now when I read she is merch. She is. I get it. All
Yeah,
right.
because all the merchandise
Ben
start
Twist.
with she's.
Ah, nice. Ben Twist Bliss is saying, excellent discussion, y'all. Many thanks. Thank you for joining us, and thank you well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And Kafra, boom, she really full enjoyed the session. And I must say that I did as well. Beijing fam, just do it. Thanks, ladies. Uh, oh, she's saying that you were ready for the cheese. We can get some for
So
you, girl.
ready. I'm so sad I'm in Barbados. Or else I would have been like down there trying to get some, and I would pay for it.
Mhm.
You don't even gotta give me free cheese. I just want it.
Nice, nice. Okay, cool. And we have congrats to Kafra's Gourmet Cheeses. Okay, so before we roll out,
Hmm.
tell everyone how they can contact you to do business with.
Okay, well, you can click the link in my bio and you can just schedule I do a free consultation. where I basically try to see where you are, see where you want to be, and if I can help you, then we figure out a plan to get you where you want to be. And then, yeah, that's it. I have my design and branding masterclass. If anybody is interested, it is $500 US, but it is like payment plans because it's over a course of time. So it's not like all at once. I have actually people taking it where they just paid like, you know, the smallest down payment, and then we can work it out as we go. So do not be intimidated by it. You will get the results that you want. Like if you're uncertain as far as like where your brand is and where you want to be, are you attracting the right people? How can I attract more people? That is that. So it's literally a step-by-step hand-holding process, customized for whatever you got going on. And yeah, it's just helping businesses. And I also have a layout and design workshop on Sunday. So that's going to be fun because it's going to be, once again, like, you know, it's not going to be as detailed as the other one, but you'll be able to understand like layout, content, like, you know, laying out your content, getting a dope grid system, what should your, you know, your whole thing or whatever, not the whole thing, but you know, this layout and design related. So yeah, it's also going to be a workshop. So we're going to be working, like actually working, and I'll be giving you live feedback, and we're going to be working and doing things. So that is on Sunday. That is $145 US. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm very excited about it. I have really great people in there right now, and I am super pumped to level up their business and take the doubt, because there's a lot of doubt that happens. Like sometimes when you're designing stuff and when you're just not sure, like, oh, does this look good? Like, is this gonna make sense or whatever? So basically, when you leave there, you won't have that problem. You can be set up in such a way where you like, you know, you have a very clear understanding as far as what works, what actually makes sense, and how you can consistently do that, replicate that, and continue to attract more customers to your business and increase your visibility.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you very much, Reeka, for being here. I really enjoyed this interview. And follow us. Follow me at Make It Happen with Chamara on Instagram and Facebook. And follow Reeka at Selman's Design Group on both Instagram and Facebook as well. So have a great night, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Chamara. Sorry.
A pleasure talking to you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.